Good morning. Uh, Welcome to the open house for Department of Urban Planning and Policy. My name is Sanjeev Vidyarthi, and I want to walk you through the importance of spatial plans. Um, but before we do that, I want to congratulate you for your acceptance in the program. This is one of the highly ranked programs nationwide, uh, and also an incredible intellectual house because it attracts faculty and students from far and wide, um, and people who work on very cutting edge ideas in different aspects and dimensions of planning field. Plans, as several of you might already know, are central to the kind of work planners do. And in this short presentation, I want to spend a little time talking about why plans matter, why they are so fundamental to the human enterprise on this world, and then walk you through some of the courses that specifically deal with plan making in the Masters of Urban Planning and Policy curriculum. So not so long ago, the world was not lighted up. Today it looks like this. This is a screenshot of the world taken from outer space. As you can see, many parts of the world are well lighted, including uh, including uh, including the part of the world where we are, uh, Western Europe, uh, Japan, and the Korean Peninsula. And there's several parts of the world that are not as well lighted as in Africa, parts of Eastern Russia, and Amazons. We don't want this part to be lighted as well. But nonetheless, there is this notion that in the last um, few hundred years, um, in fact, less than two centuries. So it's not in few decades we have lit up the planet. Not so long ago, the planet would look like this at night. You know, imagine our ancestors spent much of the time they've been around on planet Earth in darkness. Once the sun set, it would be dark. And imagine life in different kind of settlements in geographic contexts, deserts, uh, woods, um, tropical forest, and so on and so forth, and people seeking shelter in caves and in places devoid of night light. We didn't like it. So many people, and many actors worked together, creating a vast global scale system of power production and distribution and dissemination and consumption, creating a night world where our cities and our settlements and our workplaces are lit 24 by 7. This is a fundamental. This is one of the most um, ambitious and diligently carried out planning exercise to my mind. Imagine how many people working in different contexts, in different capacities, have sort of contributed to setting up this planetary scale system of nightlight. Um, but we know this is not sustainable in many ways. Much of our power comes from thermal. We know many people in different parts of the world still do not have access to reliable and continuous electric supply. So there are gaps, but nonetheless, right, the system at some scale is a good example of what meaningful and purposefully executed and diligently thought out plans can do. Uh, at some level, this map corresponds well with the word human density map. We know people, we are about 7.5 billion of us, and we are not distributed evenly. The yellow areas in the map sort of show geographies that have lesser density of human beings. The darker the color, more people live there, as you can see. Asia sort of comprises some, some of the largest population densities anywhere in the world. But if we zoom in these maps sort of show density spread out at the national state boundary. But if we zoom in the US or in a place like India that I study closely, we can see that the densities differ within the national borders. For example, this is the city of Calcutta here, the city of Delhi is somewhere here, and the city of Lahore just over the border in Pakistan here. This is one of the more militarized borders in the world, but nonetheless, from Lahore almost to Calcutta, here it's one continuous urban area. Um, Now, we know very little about this area, and we would like to know more about about these kind of uh, urban conurbations, because a substantial part of human populations live there, and we need to be making diligent plans, as you might have already noticed, in the sense of global pandemics and disasters and improving the quality of life. Our understanding of urban spaces is vital. Similarly, in the US, if we see, the population is distributed not so evenly. Much of the population lives on the two coasts and around the Great Plains, with substantial areas pretty open. So planning profession comprises diverse occupations in many fields, but all planners, right, make and study plans in some way or another. And we need to be making better plans as the world increasingly turns in urban place. There's now more of us living in urban areas than in rural areas worldwide. The faculty at research-focused universities like UIC, however, is more interested in their own areas of scholarship. And it's kind of paradoxical that plan making does not get traction at many schools, but UIC is an exception that we deliberately changed our curriculum starting in 2008 when we introduced the plan making studio that you can see here. Um, um, and then that has, and we have further strengthened our continuing focus on plan making. So if you see the core courses, you would sort of study the history and theory of planning, space, place, and institutions planning skills. All of these, all the three courses, 500, 501, and 502, sort of lead up to a plan making studio, which is an 8 credit course where you work together. Plan making studio and making plans lecture. So these are 4 credits each, and the whole cohort works together, learning to make plans. And the other courses sort of support that endeavor as well. So, and then the faculty sort of collaborates, people from different concentrations. So you have professors from transportation planning and community development and economic development, spatial planning and environmental planning, collaborating together to teach this plan making workshop, which is at the core of the MUP core. It's about learning plan making process. How do you make plans and reflecting in action, right? So it's learning by doing. It helps students develop a facile understanding of the process and allows faculty to teach it from a variety of interdisciplinary perspectives. So students gain a lot. Two key characteristics: the focus is on the process, and it's joyful learning for the entire cohort. So, and the focus of this plan making studio or workshop changes every year. This sort of lists some of the more recent, not so recent themes that we have sort of dealt with in the plan making workshop. And each group sort of takes, so your cohort is divided up into 3 or 4 sections. So in the plan making lecture, everyone comes together. And then in their workshop session, you guys are divided up into smaller groups of 15, 16 people, and you work with an instructor. So that sort of shows you different takes on a coastal management plan. Studios, and then this was another one where people worked on West Englewood, creating a community development plan, and so on. So congratulations again for thinking about urban planning and policy. This is a fantastic department. I can't stress enough how much of intellectual action happens in these walls. And we look forward to having you over. Please feel free to contact me or any of my faculty colleagues should you have questions, and all the best.